Hi, this is Amy from AmyWorks, and today I'm going to introduce you to the circular saw, versatile power tool that you can use for many different projects in the home, and I'm going to show you a few features on how to safely operate the circular saw. It's got a flat plate on it that's got marks on it here, okay, and it's got one notch, it's got a 0 on it, and it's got one notch that's got a 45. And the reason it has those is because if you are doing a straight cut, the blade is perpendicular to the wood, and you have your line, you want to line up that line with the 0. Okay? If you want to make an angled cut, which this can do, this adjusts also. So you can make an angled cut. Say we're at 45, so this can adjust to a 45-degree angle. Then you'll line up your mark on this mark here that says 45. And that's how you'll know. So you'll bring it down, you'll have your line, you'll make sure that this is nice and flat on your piece of wood, and you'll do your cut. When you're using a circular saw, you want to adjust the depth of the blade in relationship to the wood that you're cutting. I only need to go as deep as the wood is. So what I would do is I would take my blade, I should take the battery out first. So I bring the guard up like this and I set this flat, and I bring the blade down, and I adjust my foot. Can you see over there? And I would adjust it so the blade is just touching down there. Then I would tighten that up. So then when I cut that, it only needs to go through that much. It's only going to be going through that much. The whole blade, the whole thickness or the depth of the blade doesn't need to go through it. It saves on the blade and the battery. And if you were cutting, you've got it on your sawhorses, right? You got the piece on your sawhorses and you want to cut like this, well then it's not going to cut your sawhorses. Now this particular one has a safety mechanism on it, so it's got 2 different buttons that you have to push. There's one up here that you have to push in order for this trigger to work. If you don't push this, the trigger's not going to work. Okay, and a lot of them have that dual trigger where you need to be able to do both of them at the same time in order for it to work. Unfortunately for us women, sometimes the grips on these tools are so big that it's really hard for us to get it. Ryobi does a pretty good job. They're not huge. Are you ready? Okay. When you're operating the power saw, or the circular saw, you want to make sure that your piece of wood is firmly attached to your work surface. I have it clamped here, or you can have it spread across a couple of sawhorses, or you can have somebody else hold on to it tightly. You want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. You'll have the possibility of the saw bucking back and possibly hurting you if it's not properly or firmly attached or held. When you're making the cut, you want to line up the line that you have drawn that you want to cut, and you're going to line up the 0 mark on your foot, and the saw blade will come just to the edge of the wood but not touching it before you start it. So you'll have it placed there properly, all lined up and ready to go, and then you'll start the saw, but not while it's touching the wood. You want to make sure you're back about 1/4 of an inch or so. And as you cut the wood, you want to make sure that you push through the cut. When you get to the end, a lot of people have a tendency to want to stop when they get to the end, but what that does is it actually will give you a jagged cut at the very edge of the wood. So you just want to keep the saw going and push through the wood, and then the piece will fall off, or you can have somebody over here holding it if you have enough excess over here on the edge. So I'll go ahead and make a cut, and watch as I push through. I'm lining my line up on the 0, watching the saw blade also go on the mark. Yes. as you're cutting through it, people have a natural tendency to let the saw stop or stop the saw before they get through the cut all the way. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that, to actually keep the saw going as you go through the entire piece of wood and not let it stop before being all the way through. Well, I hope this has helped you gain a little bit of confidence on using the circular saw, and make sure that you're always safe, and with knowing how to safely operate it, it's definitely going to help confidently using it. Go ahead and send me an email.